Good evening. Train fares in the West Midlands will go up by an average of 6.2% from January. It follows the release today of July's retail price index inflation figures used by train companies as the starting point for annual fare increases.
But with no hope of such generous increases in wages, it means tough times ahead for passengers. Callum Watkinson reports.
Stop the fare increases, stop the rip-off.
It's that time of year again. Train fares will rise in January and more steeply than ever before, prompting anger from transport unions and outrage from passengers.
We already have the highest fares in Europe, or some of the highest fares in Europe. We contribute £7 billion a year to rail, and passengers aren't going to be happy about this.
July's retail price index inflation figure released today is always used to set next year's fares. At 3.2%, it's higher than expected, and the government's told train companies they can add an average of 3%. It'll see the price of an annual season ticket between Leicester and Derby rise to more than £1,900, an increase of £120. The price of getting from Nottingham to Burton-on-Trent every day will be more than £2,000, up by £135. And the annual commute between Leicester and Coventry will now cost more than £2,500, over £160 more than this year. Weary resignation from travellers at Birmingham New Street.
No one's, in the main, had a pay rise for 3 or 4 years. Maybe they should find other ways to pick up these costs.
My wages won't go up that much, will they?
It's just wrong, and I think they're taking the mickey out of us.
With a pricey programme of network improvements underway, government says passengers should foot more of the bill.
We recognise concerns about fare increases, but these are making a very important contribution to what is a massive programme of rail improvement across the country.
That's not true, say the unions.
I'm not buying that at all. The reality of it is, since privatisation, only 1% of investment in the railway industry has came from the privateers. Most of it, like the West Coast mainline upgrade and stuff, has came from the taxpayers.
This rise will make 2013 the 10th year in a row that fares have risen above inflation, and most rail users simply have no choice but to pay up. Callum Watkinson in Birmingham for Central Tonight.
Well, lots of you have been getting in touch with us about this story. Rob Francis says, trains are overpriced anyway. I can already do the journey I used to do cheaper by car, so why would I use trains if they cost me more?
And Mark Smith agrees. He says train fares are so expensive anyway that it's far cheaper to take the car. Putting the fares up again will not take more cars off the roads, therefore increasing pollution.
Linda Walsh says all public transport is a rip-off. It's disgraceful for some people who rely on it for work, hospitals and visiting family and friends.
And Dawn Paddock says it beggars belief that in the middle of a recession, with people either being made redundant or on a pay freeze, that they are then expected to pay more to travel.
Thank you for all those comments.